During these next few minutes, I'm going to present to you an in vitro model of persistent infection by foot and mouth disease. And for this, we have grown at the air interface soft palate cells that were seeded at the top of inserts. And by this way, we have obtained a three-dimensional model. It is what I'm going to describe. So this project was funded through ANIWA-ERANET, and is a result of a collaboration between SLU, ANSES, and FLI. And all these people have been involved, and many of them are in the room, so they will help me to answer to your questions. So maybe to start is, as you know, many countries fight very hard to get a free status of foot and mouth disease without vaccination. And when they get an outbreak, often they will implement a stamping out strategy and to recover the status as soon as possible due to the economical impact that this can have. And therefore, this is mainly due to the fact that FMD can persistently infect animals, and thus, despite the vaccinal status. So I will not describe the virus. I will just say that the persistence occurs for all the serotypes. And the definition of the persistence in foot and mouth disease is when we can recover the virus 28 days after infection. So it has been published that it could be done earlier, but still it's the official definition. And for this, the most classical technique that we use is probang samples. Probang, where we can collect oropharyngeal samples. The problem is sometimes they are positive, sometimes they are negative. We need to repeat, and this type of diagnostic is not very robust, and this probably needs improvement. Persistence, we can say, occurs in 50% of the cattle. The virus is recovered in the epithelial cells in relation of the lymphoid structure in the soft palate and the nasopharynx. And if we look at in which type of cells, we find quite a lot of virus. We find quite a lot of virus in cytokeratin positive cells at the upper layer, but also in cytokeratin negative cells or weakly positive on the basal layer. The virus has also been recovered from nasopharyngeal lymph node, the retropharyngeal, the mandibular, but in these cells, it was not really replicative. We couldn't detect non-structural protein. However, we cannot exclude that this virus is at the origin of some virus in the epithelial cells. A lot of work has been done in animals, in monolayer, in primary cells, but also in cell line. And we can say that up to now, we think that the virus can have an immunosuppressive effect on the host. For example, by decreasing or depleting, having a negative effect on apoptosis, decreasing the production of some cytokines, and also on the T cell response. We have also shown that not us, but some researchers have also shown that the cells can get adapted to the virus with less CPE, and also that the virus can mutate under the adaptive immunity pressure with mutation, for example, in VP1, VP2, and S1. And also that maybe in this region, the virus might use other receptors than the alpha V beta 6 integrin, maybe such as heparin sulfate. So the aim of our project, one of the aim, was to establish a model of persistent infection in bovine soft palate multilayer and grown at the interface to be able to study or to understand what are the viral change or how the virus is clear from this in absence of adaptive immunity, to get more information about the pathway that might be activated or repressed during this phenomenon, and therefore to be able maybe to screen some molecules that could be useful for the diagnostic, or maybe that could be targeted to interfere with the persistence. So for this purpose, we went to the slaughterhouse. We have very healthy animals in Sweden, where we have collected soft palate, dorsal soft palate. We have digested them overnight in protease. We have removed quite a few cells by adherence and grow them in flask. And when we had enough cells, seeded collagen-coated inserts. When these collagen-coated inserts were confluent, we dry the upper layer And by this way, we could obtain a multi-layer. And for this, in addition, we were washing the upper layer each 2-3 days and changing the medium each 2-3 days. So by this way, we could obtain multi-layers that are very similar to what you can observe in vivo, with 6-7 layers of cells on the inserts. And you can see sometimes they are not really regular. They can make like mountains, but we can keep these cells up to 3 months, so quite a long time. We have tried to characterize these cells. So for this, we have stained, for example, for cytokeratin. So when we digest this tissue, many of the cells are cytokeratin positive, and they are not highly positive for vimentin. But after 5 passages, we could get the opposite. So vimentin is considered as a fibroblast marker. However, when you grow epithelial cells, they can go through a process that is named mesenchymal process, that is a reversible process, where in fact these epithelial cells can express vimentin. We have also tried to characterize when they were grown as a multi-layer. We could see that we had a few cells at the upper layer that were positive for cytokeratin, and most of them were vimentin positive. Electron microscopy has also been performed on this, and around 20% of the cells had a polygonal form, and we could observe also tight junctions. And we think that it was really an epithelium, since also most of the inserts were impermeable to the liquid, suggesting that the epithelium was really tight. We did also staining for V-beta-6 integrin. So after digestion, most of the cells were positive. But after on multi-layer, all of them were negative, as it is observed in vivo when we do section of soft palate. What was very interesting is when we grow soft palate cells as a monolayer, you see many of them are highly positive for V-beta-6 integrin. And this is very interesting, since a few collaborators have tried it as a diagnostic tool, and they could observe, they could isolate very well the virus from field samples. So maybe this is a potential in the future, since we can pass them quite a few times. It can be very interesting in terms of diagnostic. So I come back to the multi-layer. So now we were in a position to start the infection. So we have decided to fix at 5 weeks the growth of the multi-layer. We have used to infect this Panagia strain that was isolated in France during the UK outbreak in 2001. And after infection, we were washing the upper layer or not, and and this was done each 2-3 days, and also removing or changing the medium under each 2-3 days. So this is a type of experiment that we were performing by using animals from different sex, by using different MOI. We were washing the upper layer each 2-3 days, so we had a way to look how much virus was produced in the upper layer. We have also done RT-PCR on this. We could do also immunochemistry to see the virus, and also some of these inserts were spared to provide them to Florian, Michael, to run some proteomic and transcriptomic, and they will present the data after. So this is pictures of the upper layer from the top following infection at different MOI with their respective control. And you can see, or maybe it's difficult, it's a little bit far, but you can see that we can see a CPE at the top, which is not extreme, but we can see it at 24 and a little bit at 48 hours. And then after, we cannot see anything later. I don't know if it's very convincing from far away, but trust me. So then we have done also titration of the virus in isolation, so isolation in cell culture, but also by RT-PCR, titration of the or detection of the RNA by RT-PCR. So by isolation, we can say that in both cases, these two experiments with different animals, we can see that despite the MOI, we see a very strong multiplication of the virus at 24 hours, then a decline. And for some animals, it was stable after, and for others, it was declining quite a low level. We could still detect the virus in all the inserts, but sometimes it was difficult to titrate since the first iteration was 1 in 10 at the start, so we didn't have enough sensitivity. By RT-PCR, we can see that, in fact, after this increase at 24 hours, is decrease and stay quite stable, or we have some discrepancy between some animals between isolation in cell culture and RT-PCR. So an hypothesis is maybe we had production of some defective particle in some case. We did also staining. So staining of the virus, we could see that between 3 and 36% of the cells were positive 24 hours post-infection. And then we observe a decline of the virus in the inserts. So you can see on your left side, in fact, positive cells in round. So these ones were localized at the upper part of the multilayer, but we could also observe positive cells in other areas. So in conclusion on this part, I will say that we have developed a model of persistence in multi-layer cells of soft palate cells that were grown at the interface and that mimic in some way what is observed in vivo. That we didn't observe any CPE after day 28 and after 48 hours. That only a just small number of cells were positive, and we have still work to do to characterize which cells were positive. And you will see that despite the small number of positive cells, in fact, this little number of cells had a quite big influence in terms of transcriptomic and proteomic. And finally, our hope is by using this model maybe to identify some molecules or some pathway that will enable us to improve the diagnostic or maybe to interfere with the persistence. And I thank you for your attention and also all the collaborators that did a great job in this project. Thank you.